hosts, Nick Sainick
no way in a crime without having to spend time in jail.
and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome into the happy hour, 93 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary with you. Rico, what's up, man? How was the weekend?
Hello. It was fantastic.
Did you do anything exciting?
I covered my first softball game.
I saw that. Did you figure out how to live tweet it?
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
I felt like weird because I was tweeting like every single play that was happening. And I was like, I don't think I should be doing this.
Don't worry about that as much.
So I asked people, what should I do? Anybody that's tweeted about bat and ball sports, let me know. And somebody came in and was like, just go like every half inning, big plays, and the end of an inning. And I was like, all right, cool. So that's kind of what I went to. And I was
Perfect.
like, yeah, this is a lot easier. So I would just type out like something that would happen, and I would just leave it there, and then I would just continue to watch. And it was really great. Nebraska softball ended up sweeping Purdue on the weekend, 3-0. And I went to Sunday's game. Maya Felder got a hold of a ball that was hit farther than I've ever seen a softball hit. She cleared.
You must have never been to my slow pitch softball games.
She cleared.
I haven't hit them, but other people have.
She cleared both fences in left field. She hit it out into the parking lot.
How?
And I was just like, "Oh my sweet baby Jesus!"
How does the turf look? Because it's new turf.
It's so pretty. It's so,
nice.
It's so gorgeous. At one point, they like had to put more dirt like in the right-handed pitcher or batter's box, which was weird. But yeah, the first batter that went up like scraped all of the dirt out of it anyways.
Gotcha.
But that turf is so gorgeous. The end right in center field just glows.
So it was funny. When I left the Embassy Suites on Friday, because I had a little event there on Friday night that I had to MC for. We parked in the parking garage across the street, walked into the elevator at the parking garage, and in walked a Purdue softball player.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else that was in the elevator, I did not ask. Somebody else in the elevator was like, did you play the Huskers? And they were like, yeah.
No, we played Wesley.
Yeah. I was like, rhetorical question, but whatever. She's like, yeah. And the person was like, well, how'd you do? And she's like, we lost. And we're probably going to lose the other next two as well. We're not very good.
Oh,
I was like, dang, that's just
what's sad.
What a mentality to have. What a mentality to have.
I thought they were pretty good. They put
so-
up a good fight. Nebraska won 4-2 on Sunday. It was back and forth. Nebraska scored in each of the first 3 innings. Sarah Harness started, and
Southern Illinois transfer.
She didn't do that bad, but they pulled her in the third.
Okay.
In the third, I believe she went 3 2/3, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So they pulled her in the fourth. But then Courtney Wallace took over and just kind of finished it out.
Yeah.
So it was a little weird, but I'm not going to question Rhonda Ravel's methods at all.
Yeah.
But it worked out. They ended up winning 4-2, obviously. And I think it's Brooke Andrews is in center field, had a gorgeous catch at the wall where she thought it was going a lot farther than it was going to go. And she like put her hand on the wall and thought about jumping and then realized, oh, snap, this is further in front of me, and like lunged forward to catch it.
So after this weekend and their getting swept, Purdue is now 15-16 on the year.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. They're 0-3 in the conference now, but
Nebraska's good.
Get this. Away from home, they are 2-10.
Oh.
Neutral site, they're 12-5.
They should play more neutral sites.
Play more neutral sites. On the text line, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Drumstick says this, and this is where I kind of want to start. We can talk a little bit about some fouls called, some controversy there with everybody's talking about the Creighton one.
There's another.
There is another one that I saw in the Miami-Texas game in the later stages. And so I want to dive into that here in a moment. Drumstick says this March Madness this season in 2023 has been so darn good. Best one since 2014. Enrico, we're going to take a trip down memory lane.
I don't remember the 20. I feel like I do, but I don't.
2014 March Madness.
Okay, hit me with this. Hit me with this.
The 4 number 1 seeds.
Okay.
The Florida Gators.
Okay.
Virginia. Arizona. And a team to the south just 4 hours away. Wichita State.
Oh my! That were a 1 seed.
They were a 1 seed. Wichita State
I don't remember.
was a number 1 seed.
Was that the Ron Baker, Clee Anthony Early?
Yes.
That was a good.
That was a good Wichita State team.
State team.
Was Fred VanVleet on that team?
I think he might have been younger.
Okay, so a little bit more
think.
recent. Anyway, this was the Final Four, or this was the national title or bracket. This was UConn winning it.
Mm-hmm.
UConn, yes.
Cardiac Kemba with the step back in the garden. People forget that wasn't in the NCAA tournament, and it wasn't in a final game. That was in the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament.
So I need to see what seed. I thought UConn. Okay, UConn was a 7. I misspoke earlier in the crossover. I said a 9. They were a 7 in 2014 when they won it. They beat. Do you remember who they beat in the national title game?
Mm-mm.
Kentucky. This was the Kentucky team.
Fred and Ron Baker were sophomores on that team. Clee Anthony Early was a senior.
Okay.
Tequil Cotton, Darius Carter, Chadrick LaFile, Nick Wiggins, Kadeem Colby. Just some guys that you probably didn't hear of. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't recognize any of those guys.
I vaguely remember Darius Carter.
Okay, so on this Kentucky men's basketball team, they finished 29-11 because this was the bracket where Kentucky was not as high of a seed as we're used to. Kentucky was an 8. So it was a national championship of 7 seed UConn and 8 seed Kentucky, because in the Final Four, this was in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Dallas.
Yeah.
The Final Four.
This was before Jerry World.
No, it was in Jerry World.
It was like the first couple of years
right after. Yeah.
Okay.
And the only reason I know this is because I have merch from the Final Four, because this is the year that Nebraska made it.
Yes.
Because I was like, I want to get merch. So
they played Baylor.
I still have the t-shirt. Obviously doesn't fit me anymore because I weigh a little bit more than I did when I was 12. But it's a big 12-year-old. 12-year-olds wearing extra large back then. Yowzers. Anyway, because on the shirt it has every single team logo that's in the. And I love
shirts like that.
I was like, I need Nebraska. On this shirt.
I love shirts
because
like that.
here we are almost 10 years later and we haven't gotten another shirt.
Was the year that if Nebraska would have won their first tournament game, if they would have beaten Baylor, they would have played Creighton in the second round.
Yes. Yep, because
that was the year that Baylor destroyed Creighton.
Yeah, so Baylor was the 6th seed, Nebraska was the 11, and on the game below it, Creighton was the 3 seed, and Louisiana Lafayette was their first round matchup. Mm-hmm. Creighton won by 10, and Baylor won by 14. I think that says 74-60. It's either 74-50 or 74-60. Either one. Then Baylor beats Creighton by 30. Just 85-55.
Just destroyed them.
But you'll remember this Wisconsin team. This was the Nigel Hayes coming out party. This was the year that Nigel Hayes.
Was this Frank the Tank?
Frank was on this team.
Was that the year Frank won Player of the Year? I'm gonna look it up. You keep talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. So nice job, Drumstick. You're absolutely right. That was a really good March Madness. And here, yeah, that's good. That's good. Florida was undefeated that year, or 36-3 was their final record. Florida was 36-3, the overall number 1 seed in the tournament, and they lost in the Final Four to 7 seed UConn by 10 points.
He won the Player of the Year. It says 2015. But
so it was the year after.
It was the 14-15 college basketball season, because then he got drafted and played 2015 in Charlotte.
Okay, so this national, or this March Madness that we're talking about is 2013, 2014.
Yep. So it was a year after.
I remember thinking, watching that Final Four game between Kentucky and Wisconsin, because this was the Kentucky team that had Nerlens Noel. Yeah, Nerlens Noel.
And this was actually good Nerlens Noel.
Yeah,
this is an NBA Nerlens Noel, who was actually pretty good, but not,
Yes.
Kentucky Nerlens Noel was different. blocking all the shots.
Archie Goodwin was there. Let's see. Roster. This is what I'm looking for.
There you go.
Roster.
Let me know who's on the 24 ticket.
Drew Holiday. Ooh. Is that it?
Drew Holiday.
Alex Poitras. Willie Cauley-Stein.
Willie Cauley-Stein in his 27th year of college.
Yes. That's basically it.
Yeah, they had they ran like a skinny big system where they're catching lobs and swatting shots.
But listen to 4 guys that that Calipari ended up recruiting that year. Aaron and Andrew Harrison, Dakari Johnson, and Julius Randle.
Julius.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of their 8 recruits were 5 stars.
That sounds like
about
Coach
right.
Cal.
Sounds like, yeah. Okay, 402-464-5685. We get this text on the text line. We'll go ahead and bring it up. Isaac Trout, former Grand Island Islander, was a Virginia Cavalier, was a top 60 player in according to a lot of the recruiting sites last year. Coming out of high school, got banged up, ended up redshirting at Virginia. Unfortunately, he enters the transfer portal just about 45 minutes ago or so. Somebody asks, is Isaac Trout coming to Lincoln? If I were to make a prediction, no.
If I were to put fake money on this,
I think Isaac Trout goes to Omaha.
I would put
and not to
money
UNO.
I would put fake money on the blue team.
Yeah, but to the team, unfortunately, that just
out in Kearney.
Yeah. UNK, you're close to. So the reason a lot of people think that Nebraska obviously will probably reach out. They'll
do their due diligence,
right? And so Nebraska will reach out, and I'm sure there'll be a player. Like they'll come to the table and they'll give their pitch and things like that. But ultimately, as sad as it is to say, they can't compete right now with an Elite Eight appearance and 2 straight deep runs in the NCAA tournament, especially when you look at maybe how Baylor Shireman and how that kind of benefited Creighton, how that may have benefited Baylor Shireman's really weird now because he's going to go to the NBA draft, and I don't know, like he left South Dakota State to get a higher spot in the draft. I don't know if he did that this year. More people might know his name, but there was so much hype around his transfer that he came and he had a good year, but I'm not sure if it was good enough to where it warrants a first-round pick.
He played his way into a higher draft position than he would have if he stayed at South Dakota State. But
yes,
I don't know if he played. He definitely didn't play himself into the lottery, and I don't know if he played himself into the first round. He might sneak in there if he'll get invited to the NBA draft combine. I don't know how much scouts look into that in terms of where you get drafted, but if they look into it a decent amount, I think he'll test well, and he could probably be a late first rounder. If not, he'll be a second round pick. I don't think he'll be on he won't be on an NBA roster for a while. He'll be in the G League more than likely this next season.
Well, like here's this. So I mean, Baylor Shireman and this Creighton team was extremely balanced, but I'm not trying to talk big about Creighton. Baylor Shireman averaged 12.8 points per game, averaged 3.5 assists per game, played in 33 minutes each game, shot 42% from the field, shot 36% from beyond the arc, shot 84% from the free throw line, averaged almost 9 rebounds per game. Like, had a good year.
He should average more assists. He's really good at finding his team.
Not sure if it's, as Rico said, good enough to get him into the lottery. Now, to answer why would he go to Creighton, in his post, it says something about family is super important to me. I want to be closer to my loved ones, which, yes, is Grand Island, and Lincoln is closer to Grand Island than Omaha is. But there is a significant other in this thing, and she attends Creighton.
So are you ready for Creighton's roster and the grades that these guys are in? Because I didn't realize this. I'm just going to go with get names that people. So Arthur Kaluma is only a sophomore. Trey Alexander's a sophomore. Hold on. Ryan Kalkbrenner's a junior. Francisco Farabello's a senior, so he'll be gone. Baylor Shireman's a senior. He'll be gone. Sharif Mitchell, junior. Ryan Nemhard, sophomore. Jason Green's only a freshman, and he'll probably get some more playing time next year. That the entire roster outside of 2 players, a sharpshooter and Farabello, and then a pretty, I don't know, probably your number 2, number 3 guy in Shireman aren't coming back. Isaac Trout, as Nick, I think you called a couple of his games when they played in Lincoln.
Yeah,
score like no other.
Yeah, I mean he's a really good shooter. Now that's also at the high school level. Goes to Virginia where defense is a lot of the mantra, right? But
I mean,
obviously, now he ends up, like, I'm not saying Nebraska has zero chance for Isaac Trout. I would say Nebraska. I mean, you saw John Tonji now leaves Colorado State. Nebraska reached out to him, a guy from Omaha Central, and he goes and joins Dennis Gates, Armand Gates' brother, at Missouri after they make it to the NCAA tournament. There's that part of this as well. When you look at maybe what Creighton is losing and Baylor Shireman and Farabello, where now Isaac Trout, who's a 6'10", 220-pound guy, can kind of slide right in there.
He's bigger than Shireman.
He's bigger than Baylor Shireman. That's intriguing to Creighton. But now you look at Nebraska, much more valuable, probably much more needed at Nebraska, right? There's a bigger need for Nebraska to have a guy like him at his size in the Big Ten than there might be at Creighton. But here we are. Unfortunately, I know I said that really weird, Creighton. But unfortunately, here we are, and the NCAA tournament speaks. It speaks volume, and that's why just postseason in general. And Nebraska's just kind of in a rut there, like they have been. So anyway, let's go ahead and
see Ryan Mack before we go to a break. Ryan Mackey's.
I know. I
that's a weird one.
Is it Raiola?
I don't. So Ryan Mackey says,
I feel like
what's more likely, Trout or Raiola to Nebraska? I would say Trout.
Okay. I don't know. Man, that's tough.
In terms of playing time and necessity,
like, here's the deal. Isaac Trout he redshirted at Virginia, but he's a top 60 guy. Like he was a high 4-star recruit.
Everybody
got him. Reached out to by Gonzaga, North Carolina, Kansas, Nebraska, Creighton, like all Michigan State. All these quote unquote blue bloods reached out to him, and he chose Virginia, who is also close to a blue blood, if not. They just won a national title a couple years ago. So, once again, in his little graphic that he said he was transferring, it says something about being closer to home and closer to loved ones. And that's Lincoln, or, that's either Lincoln or Creighton. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility in my eyes. It's tough to compete with a team that's going off of an Elite 8 run and the better basketball school as of right now in the state of Nebraska. Let's go ahead and get to break. I just got a text. Funny enough, we were supposed to have Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska on the show to talk the big recruiting weekend in Little Husker football. Then something came up. Steve wasn't able to come on the show.
Canceled on us.
Now I just got a text about 4 minutes ago that Steve is able to come on the show.
What do you want, Steve?
So we are going to take a break. When we come back, we talk Husker football and the big recruiting weekend with Steve Mark of Rivals coming up next.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that, options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
At first, I was really nervous. I dated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Starter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. StarterHeyman.com.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
We'll see increasing cloud cover by later this afternoon. Should top out with a high near 45. Winds out of the north-northeast of around 10. Partly cloudy tonight with a low down to around 24. Mostly sunny tomorrow and warmer. We'll see a southwest wind at 15 with a high of around 52. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you've put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor golf simulators. It's perfect for every level of golfer, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of the best courses in the world. And the best part, no matter what the weather's doing outside, it's always golf weather inside. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
If you're not sure what your evening plans are and want to change things up, look no further than craft axe throwing. Whether for a date night, an evening with friends, or even a private party, you're sure to make memories at craft axe throwing. Trained instructors help make things easy to understand, and a stock bar makes it a great hangout spot. With 13 throwing lanes, there's plenty of opportunity to reserve your spot today. Choose the Lincoln location at craftaxethrowing.com to book a lane or call 402-802-9696. Craft Axe Throwing at 18th and N.
This is Jay Foreman. When I played football for Nebraska and in the NFL, I wore protective gear to safeguard my health. Today, I'm not only protecting my health, but everyone in our community by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Update your protection with the bivalent COVID vaccine while it's still free. Find out more at healthylincoln.org. That's healthylincoln.org.
March is a month of good luck. From epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Mike Shaver here to tell you that Trek CBD has a new name, and it's Hemp Boss. It's the same products you've grown to love, just a new name. Spring sports are on the horizon, and Hemp Boss has a variety of products that help calm me down during games and on the golf course so I don't go over the top. And they have a variety of options for you to calm you down before, during, and after any event. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Hemp Boss has it all at 84th and Andermatt. Hemp Boss, naturally healthy CBD.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I don't believe you people.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people? Huh?
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick and Rico joining you. Okay, so we had a good conversation there in the first segment regarding Nebraska Creighton, which seems to be the buzz. I mean, if you go on Twitter, it just seems like that's the buzz today.
Go to 93.7 The Ticket's Twitter. Check out the video we posted about Jake talking about Creighton and how much he enjoyed them losing. And just go through the comments.
Creighton fans are in the mentions.
They are upset.
Yeah, which it's okay. It's okay. We go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We bring in our good friend Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska, the rival site for the Huskers. Been a busy weekend. Steve, do you cheer for Creighton?
I cheer for good basketball in the state of Nebraska. Is that an acceptable answer?
That means you cheer for.
That means you cheer for Creighton.
Wait, does that mean that Nebraska's basketball is not good?
I think it's seen better years, and I think it's getting better, Rico.
Well, okay, Steve. I'm just upset because, whole will they, won't they situation going on today.
Yeah, I understand that. As a member of the media, I try not to be a fan of anything that I cover. I think it's
good point.
Best to stay unbiased, and especially with your work, and not try to lean one side toward the other. And I do cover Nebraska basketball much more than Creighton basketball. But I'm just, if you take a step away from the job and just look at the two programs, I think Creighton basketball is obviously the better program. And they've been doing it a lot better than Nebraska basketball has in recent years, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that, right?
Yeah, well, and
you would think so.
Along with this, Steve, I'm sure I've heard that Isaac Trout is now into the portal.
Yeah.
And in his little graphics talks about being closer to home and being closer to his loved ones. I mean, if you're Nebraska, you missed out on John Tonji, who is now committed to Missouri. And we don't have to stay on basketball for too long here, but since you do cover the Huskers, we can talk about it. And I mean, you have Isaac Trout, who was considering Nebraska out of high school, ends up going to Virginia for a year, gets hurt, red shirts, and now wants to come back home. This is one of those that, I mean, you have to try your hardest to keep these guys in Lincoln if you're Fred Hoiberg, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not a thought in my head that Nebraska is not going to, at least contact Isaac and see what he's thinking. I mean, that's obvious in my opinion. And, I covered Isaac Trout in his final AAU season here in Lincoln with the Nebraska Supreme. I traveled with them over the summer before he picked Virginia and went over to Charlottesville, and just all the talent in the world with that guy. I mean, he's got all the length through the roof. He can shoot the ball from anywhere on the court. What I thought just watching him in the summer, and I know he didn't play a game at Virginia as he redshirted, but I assume that he was working. His top priority was just his overall game, of course. But I remember watching him in the AAU season, and his strength was the thing that needed to be the biggest. I think if he just got stronger, it would help him out so much. And I assume that's what he was working on at Virginia, and he'll continue to work on wherever he winds up. But if you're Nebraska, you absolutely contact Isaac Trout and just see what he's thinking and see where he's at, because if he gets some games under his belt, he gets the experience and keeps working on his game and evolves his game. I think that Isaac Trout, would be an excellent pickup for Nebraska and be exactly somebody and someone that they would want in their program, because we saw what, Sam Griesel can do coming back home. And, I know Isaac's not from Lincoln, but it would be a similar kind of notion, I think, with a home state kid coming and playing for the Huskers. That would be really kind of appealing if you would come and help this program take another step forward, just like Sam did. You can be a rock star in this state with the fan base behind you, as crazy as Nebraska's is. So, there's a lot of benefits right now, a lot of things that Nebraska could pitch on the recruiting front right now that I think would be really appetizing for somebody like Isaac Trout. But, Creighton's right down the road too, and I know he was very high on the Blue Jays in high school as well.
Well, so Trout was the highest rated signee in Virginia's 2022 recruiting class, if that tells you anything. Last one real quickly before we switch over to football. I mean, what would just a 6'2", 220-pound body do for Nebraska?
Yeah, 6'10", probably.
Or 6'10". Yeah, not 6'2". Excuse me.
Yeah. It's just when I look at Isaac Trout, I just look at like the modern day basketball, like how everybody's kind of playing right now. He's that stretch 4. He can play a small ball 5. I think he's able to hit threes. I know I forget what he shot at Grand Island his senior year, but it wasn't bad. But yeah, he's just that prototypical stretch 4, stretch 5. And once he gets more physical, once he gets stronger, down low, he can just really be a menace. Like I don't know. I'm a really big Isaac Trout fan, and on top of all that, I mean, just like Sam Griesel, I think that he's an absolutely really great human. He's a nice guy. He's just somebody that I think the fan base would really come to love, just like they did with Sam. He would do everything correct on the court. He would do everything right off the court. He's just a rock star in the making, in my opinion. I'm really high on Isaac Trout, so it's going to be really interesting to see where his recruitment goes from here, because I know he's going to be getting a lot of phone calls. But like you said, in his little statement there, he's looking somewhere closer to home. So that leads, at least in my opinion, Nebraska or Creighton, but I'm sure others will toss their hat in the ring.
Yeah, Trout, as a senior in Grand Island, averaged 24 points a game and 9 rebounds. He was the Nebraska Gatorade Player of the Year in 2022 as well. So we'll see what happens. As Steve said, recruited by a lot of the top top programs coming out of high school: Gonzaga, North Carolina, Kansas, Michigan State, Texas, Creighton, obviously, and among others. Those are the ones that Virginia's website lists. So he'll have his pick of the litter, I'm sure, in the portal. Because once again, top 100 recruit by a mile for the Virginia Cavaliers in 2022. Going over to football, we're joined by Steve Marek of Inside Nebraska. Steve, we didn't get to talk to you after we got to check out practice last week. What all stuck out to you?
Yeah, so I was just for people at home, like my job during the open media portion access was to check out the defense, and then tomorrow I will be on offense duty while the publisher at Inside Nebraska, Zach Carpenter, will be on defense duty. But when I was looking at the defense last week, I wanted to really see the SEC transfers who I think are going to play a lot for Nebraska this season in Chief Borders, the former Florida Gator, and MJ Sherman, the former Georgia Bulldog. I mean, those guys look the part. I mean, they are strong. They are big. Out of everybody on Nebraska's roster, I mean, if you just like lined them up and had to pick out guys and say like who out of this group played in the SEC before, I mean, it'd be Chief Borders and MJ Sherman. Those guys are absolutely stacked. They look the part. They are strong. They are fast. I mean, we only got to see 40 minutes or so, and it's not too much that you can kind of glean from the media access that we do get, but you can just see that they're going to be key members of the defense in 2023 without a doubt. Another guy that I kind of found interesting was another SEC transfer from Florida, just like Chief Borders, safety Corey Collier. Good size on him. He's got a lot of length. I don't think he's maybe as big as I thought he was, but he was really doing well in the tackle drills that I saw Evan Cooper, the defensive backs coach, running. Corey Collier, he's a lot of people know about him. He's a former 5-star recruit in the 2021 class, who spent the past 2 seasons at Florida and then is in Lincoln right now. He didn't play a lot in Florida, but he's another guy that, with Tony White bringing his 3-3-5, there's going to be an extra defensive back out there. Is Corey Collier going to be maybe that rover position? I think he's a strong candidate to play it, along with guys like Isaac Gifford, Miles Farmer, just these kind of long, lanky defenders who have the freedom to kind of run around and follow the ball. So Corey Collier, MJ Sherman, Chief Borders were really kind of high on my radar to look, as well as some of the defensive linemen. There weren't a lot of interior big bodies there that Terrence Knighton was working with, but I really kind of found it interesting that Nash Hutmacher, who is expected to play a lot in the middle of Nebraska's defensive line, he's gone to work on his body a lot. And, he was listed at 330 pounds last year, but I don't think he's around 330 right now. I bet he's around 310 or a little over 300 right now, which I think is good for somebody like Nash Hutmacher, because we know strength will never be an issue with Nash. Nash is obviously got through the roof strength, but it's just that lateral quickness, is his ability to turn that wrestling background into maybe football production on the field and disengage off blocks and stuff. I think that's something that he maybe struggled with last year in his first season, as kind of like real playing, snaps. So, he's going to be a really big part of the interior defensive line in Nebraska this fall. And I'm just wondering, if his work in kind of sculpting his body down to maybe play more reps during the game, if on top of that, he adds, that lateral quickness and being able to shed blocks better than last year. So I'll be, those are kind of big ones that I was keeping my eye on.
Now, I know you said you were keeping your eye on the big guys and the size and the transfers in, but another guy from the South, probably one of the smaller guys on that defensive unit, kind of the breakout star of last year's defense, Malcolm Hartzog, drew a lot of praise from head coach Matt Rule in one of his pressers lately. Did you get a chance to see him? And if you did, what were your thoughts on Hartzog?
Yeah, so I did. I really like Quentin Newsome, so I was kind of looking at Quentin Newsome, but with Quentin and the other corners was Malcolm Hartzog. And yeah, Tony White was super happy with what he saw with Malcolm Hartzog, and it was really interesting because we know Malcolm as a little 5'9" corner out there who played a lot as a true freshman. 8 games he started last year and led the team in interceptions with 3. But if you listen to Tony White, he was thinking, is Malcolm going to be a corner? Is he going to be a safety? Is he going to be that nickel who lines up in the slot? There's a lot of different things that I think Tony White gets excited about when talking about a guy like Malcolm Hartzog, who, he's 5'8", 5'9", but he just plays so much bigger. And I think Husker fans really saw that last year, and it's really going to be interesting because if Tony White sees something in somebody else and is comfortable with Quentin Newsom at corner and maybe somebody else at corner, that leaves a safety spot open. And does Malcolm Hartzog fit there? And if so, what does that look like? I mean, I'm super, super excited, and it's fun to kind of think about these guys in different roles. And I think Tony White is, he sees the film, he watches the film from last season and a couple of seasons ago, and we all have kind of ideas in our head where these guys are at, but Tony White is looking at it from a different way. And, it's just going to be really fun to see, maybe go to practice and see where these guys line up. I doubt we're going to get to see too much meaningful stuff, but yeah, I'm really interested in Malcolm Hartzog and his maybe transition to maybe a safety or maybe just some sort of hybrid, maybe if he fits into that rover role. I don't know. A lot of guys seem to, but yeah, Malcolm Hartzog, really, really good and really interesting guy.
We're talking to Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska. Steve, last one before we go ahead and let you go for the week. You wrote an article, and I understand you were watching defense last week and you were going to watch offense tomorrow. But you wrote an article highlighting Ethan Piper a little bit. And
yeah.
So Ethan Piper says he's ready to rock and roll, I think was the quote when we got to talk to him last Monday. But I guess overall, where does your confidence kind of lie with this offensive line unit as a whole? I mean, because they're losing their starting center, and yes, they got Ben Scott from Arizona State, but they missed out on offensive lineman Micah Mazuka and Walter Rouse. And they didn't really add. I mean, they added Jacob Hood, but he's no Micah Mazuka or Walter Rouse. You get Nerden Wheelie back. I mean, where are we at with this offensive line?
Well, there's not a lot of them, and I think that there aren't just a lot of scholarship bodies right there. Like if you watch them at practice, everybody would think to themselves, I think, like, man, there's just not a lot of bodies. And Matt Rule is on record saying that he wants around 16 scholarship guys, and I think they have around 12 or 13 right now.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I think there's the core group. I mean, Marcus Satterfield, the offense, said that he really liked what the core group was showing right now. And the core group, I mean, sure, the good thing is Ben Scott, right? He has 28, I think it was 28 starts under his belt, 17 at right tackle and 11 at center in his career at Arizona State. If he can lock down that center position, which a lot of people think he can, I mean, Dominic Raiola is going to do his best coach speak and say he's everybody's kind of up for grabs. Every spot is up for grabs. But let's just say Ben Scott's going to be the starting center. And then you got the interior line, left guard, right guard. I mean, I know I wrote about Ethan Piper, and I don't, is he a surefire starter? I don't think so right now. But what I really like about Ethan is he can play all three of those interior spots. He can be a left guard, he can be a right guard, and he was the top backup at center last year. And so that's really, really impressive right now with Ethan Piper because he's a veteran guy. He's entering his 5th year in the program. He's just one of those kind of guys that can play a lot of different spots on the line outside of the tackles. And then, if Turner Corcoran, I think his future in football is at guard, primarily left guard. And I know he was playing pretty well last year before Teddy Prochazka's injury at left guard. If he can lock down that left guard spot, that right guard is Norden Newilly. I really like what Norden is. I know he's going to have to shake some rust off. I mean, obviously from the suspension from last year, but if he can lock down that right guard, I really like that interior D line or the interior O line. And, that obviously just leaves the edges right now. And I don't know if you guys have seen Bryce Benhart. He's looking his body like a lot of the bodies in the offensive line room. Bryce Benhart has looked like he's shed some good weight, in my opinion. And, he's played right tackle his whole career here in Lincoln. Obviously, it wasn't very good last year, but there's a lot of just depending and hopes lying on those edges with at left tackle and right tackle with Bryce Benhart, and left tackle with Teddy Prochazka. And obviously, Teddy is wearing that green jersey right now, and he is limited. Hasn't really been working with that top group. But, that core group, like Satterfield said, I think it could be okay if everything comes together, but that's a big question, right? I mean, because Teddy Prochazka is coming off 2 season-ending injuries and as many seasons, and we all know what Bryce Benhart looked like on the right side last year. So the good thing is I really like Ben Scott at center. If he does end up being center, I think, that's the quarterback of the offensive line, and to have a veteran guy like that just kind of step in and seamlessly transition to it, I think that's a really good thing. And like I said, I like the interior combinations, all three of them. There's different ways that you could go with those three spots, but whatever you end up on, I kind of like all the possibilities there. But it's just those edges at tackles. I don't know. There's not a lot of depth there at all right now, and that's kind of scary. But if everything works out and those guys stay healthy and take a step forward from last year, yeah, it is a core group, and that's kind of fun to think about.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, and obviously there's going to be the rush of transferring and portaling at the end of spring ball as well. All right, Steve. Hey, appreciate the time as always. Glad we could get you on, and we'll see you tomorrow at practice and talk to you next Monday.
Yes, we'll see you guys bright and early. Thanks for having me on.
That is Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska. Appreciate his time as always. Let's go ahead and our final timeout. Austin will join us next for the crossover on The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A lot of businesses say that they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business feels anything but for your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, as they do with customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
March is a month of good luck. From epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No tag-ons, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States. Regular screening can reduce colon cancer deaths by 50%. At-home screening tests, such as the fecal immunochemical test, FIT, can help identify precancerous polyps and prevent colon cancer. FIT is easy to use with no prep needed, can be completed in the privacy of your own home, and are often free to order from your local county health department. Take a health quiz to know if you are at risk of developing colon cancer. Doing so will help you to protect your family and yourself.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club or space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? No, forget that. How about a margarita club? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge and join the best club in town. 10 flavors of margaritas like Maui Wowie, burnt pineapple, and mango tango. Try all 10 of them and receive your own souvenir margarita glass. Make it your new Monday night tradition. $4 margaritas and $4 taco baskets. Grab the crew and head on over. Monday nights or any night. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Can you believe all the empty car lots in Lincoln? How can they survive? Well, they are surviving by charging way too much and making you believe there are no cars available. Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto. I'm here to tell you that they are full of bull stuffing. Come out to Price Right in Westo and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our Peace of Mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on West O Street at Price Right Auto.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that. Options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
Guys, when I first started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, I weighed in at over 300 pounds. Now, less than a year later, I'm under 200 pounds for the first time since high school. I'm stronger, I'm healthier, and it all began with the Farrell's 10-week challenge. 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and guidance coaching. You fitness goal April. If you're wanting to change your life like I have, head to theticketfm.com and click on Enroll Now on the homepage. Plus, get a promo code for a discount just for ticket listeners. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
We'll see increasing cloud cover by later this afternoon. Should top out with a high near 45. Winds out of the north-northeast at around 10. Partly cloudy tonight with a low down to around 24. Mostly sunny tomorrow and warmer. We'll see a southwest wind at 15 with a high of around 52. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
This isn't the real Caesar's Palace, is it?
What do you mean?
Did Caesar live here?
No.
I didn't think so.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Happy 37 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
If anybody has a bass system in their car, this is just going absolutely nuts right now. And you're welcome. Just shake whoever's next to you, shake their windows.
Do we have a subwoofer? Do any of us in this room have a subwoofer?
Do not. My college roommate did, though. He was so proud of himself. He put one in his Camaro.
Okay.
And he has about half a foot square of trunk space.
Oh, God.
I bought a car that had one.
Oh, no, put his Acura.
Did you take it out?
Camaro.
Okay,
No.
Acura.
No, because I didn't care. I left it in there, and every once in a while, I'd be like, you know what? And I would just
driving through Kearney.
Yeah,
nice.
And just
wait, was it in the silver or what? Was
no? That was Rachel's. That was Thumper. But Thumper, we called her Thumper because she actually had some bass.
I was gonna say Thumper has to be the name of the car. The subwoofer.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Nah, that was different.
How do we feel about the little LED lights that we see driving down the street and stuff? How do we feel about people with LED lights?
Ridiculous, and I love them.
Okay,
I would never put them in my car, but I love them.
Here's what I'll say. As I've gotten past into my like second or third year of college. Well, now I'm just a couple weeks away from graduating, but like now that we're at this point, I hate O Street on Friday and Saturday nights.
Now that you're soon to be no longer a college kid.
Like I was never one of those that like cruised O or whatever. Never, because I don't have the car to cruise though. I mean, you guys have seen my car. My car's just chilling, you know. It's just
cruise though.
I could. It has a little get up, but I'm not like I'm not worried about like I don't know anything. Anyway, we took an Uber on St. Patrick's Day downtown, and it was me and a couple friends, and we got turned on to O Street to go downtown. We're about 10 minutes away from downtown, and we turned on to O Street. And it was just bumper to bumper. But you have these guys, like, they slow down. Guys or girls, I don't know. They, like, slow down so that the car gets in front of them a little bit. And then they speed up so their car or truck makes a lot of noise and then slam on their brakes.
Oh, they're obnoxious.
And I'm like, what are we doing? What is the goal?
Just drive normal.
Just, like, and
how would you know that my car has some get up and go if I don't show you that it can get up and go?
I don't care.
I'm sorry.
Car has
no, that's the thing.
I do not care.
I'm like, I sit next to him like, man, that's so cool. No,
not once. Not once.
It happens, and they look over, they go, "Yeah, you like that, don't you?"
What am I supposed to say? Yes. Yeah. Actually, you know what?
Did you hear my car?
But you know what? I mean, hey, to each their own. I'm just not. You will not find me on cruising O Street on a Friday or Saturday night anymore.
Loser.
Did you cruise-o?
No, I cruise the bricks.
Okay. Out in Kearney?
Down at downtown Kearney.
See, and that's what I've heard also is like people will come in from small towns and like cruise-o or just sit down at that Barnes & Noble over there on that they'll just sit down on that Barnes & Noble on O Street and just chill in the Hy-Vee parking lot and just hang out there. And I'm like, you know what? That probably bad. Like I would just sit there, but I'd be so nervous to see an accident because like we were Ubering
not
home.
long ago there was that Ameristar during Ameristar that accident.
Okay. No. Oh, yes. Right over here.
Yeah.
Right over by Barnes Noble.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing is I remember because Nate and I were hanging out that night. Nathan Brennan and I were hanging out that night.
Yeah, you guys just hang out all the time.
Well, no, he was over at my place and he got the phone call that he was going to have to wake up early to go perform live. And it was like 1 a.m. And he was like, oh, no. He's like, I gotta go.
Looks like I'm not gonna go to sleep.
Well, he's like, I gotta go. Because and like we were out and we were driving, and all you saw was the fire. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is like it was terrifying. Which I would like to we here at the Ticket like to send our thoughts with the people out in Nashville. If you guys haven't heard, 3 children and 3 adults were killed in a Christian elementary school in Nashville, Tennessee earlier today. Just absolutely disgusting. And the shooter was shot and killed by police as well. But so thoughts and prayers to the families of those 3 children and 3 adults that once again were shot and killed at a Nashville elementary school earlier today. Just terrifying. So yeah,
I gotta send my kid to kindergarten here in a couple years. Like this is terrifying. Like I'm not a fan of that. This is not something that should be happening. Yet it continually happens every single year here in the United States, and I don't understand why it's taking so long for something to change.
Well,
even if it doesn't make a difference, you gotta at least try something.
Well, and this isn't even obviously we're not trying to get into like the whole politics or anything like that because that's not what this is about. This is just straight up just thoughts and prayers with everybody involved and things like that. Going back to the previous conversation though, did you ever take part in the Kearney Cruise event, Rico?
Kearney Cruise Night? Yes,
sure.
Every summer.
Okay.
It's a
was it fun?
It was one of the reasons why you cannot spell drunk without UNK.
Oh, hello. On a cruise, that's great.
It's an all day.
That's good to hear on a cruise event.
It's an all day thing, and it goes. It's not even on the bricks. Part of it's on the bricks, but it goes on the street. Ends up going right next to the university. I can't remember what the street is called, but just houses line that, and they're all college houses. So just out on the yards, big front yards. Everybody's just out there. Every house has its own mini party.
I'm picturing just like a homecoming parade.
Oh,
But
it is glorious, and it is so much fun. And it's you have instances of people telling stories. I had a friend who the next morning we all stayed at his place. The next morning he woke up. We didn't know where he was. He walks in the house. We're like, dude, where are you? He goes, I don't know. I fell asleep in the back of somebody's truck. And everybody's just
serious?
like, hey,
you just hang out.
He just fell asleep in somebody's truck. Just somebody had their truck
What the
parked.
hell?
He was like a couple blocks away. He just crawled in the back of somebody's truck. The bed of somebody's truck, just passed out. And it was like, yeah, that just happens. There are people
there is that part
people
of like
partying on roofs, jumping off of roofs into kiddie pools.
There is that part of like small towns. I'm like, all right, that'd be kind of fun for like one night, and then I'd be kind of done.
It was wonderful.
One night it'd be okay.
It was glorious.
See that, and this Joe makes a good point. In the 90s, cruising O was all we had to do as teenagers, aside from the Nintendo. Lincoln now has more things for teenagers to do, so there's no reason for them to be wasting gas because I'm the sad one paying for it.
The Nintendo.
The Nintendo. Playing Mario Tennis.
Call me crazy. I just don't see the appeal of just driving down the street.
See, I enjoy.
Time and again.
I'll lie. I won't lie.
I'll lie.
Excuse me.
Here,
I won't lie.
Let me lie real quick.
Let me lie. No, I won't lie. There's something calming about a drive, and whenever I will say, whenever I go on road trips or whenever I go on trips with like buddies or friends, I have to drive.
Really,
I am the one that I have to drive, and I want to drive. I don't know what it is.
You're a good friend. I need you as a friend when I go on a drive.
But that's how I am. I have to drive. I don't know if it's a trust thing.
It's definitely a trust.
You want your life in your own hands.
Yeah, like
Look,
if I'm gonna roll off the road, I want to be because of what I did.
Plane off the interstate.
Hey,
on you.
That's a little too close to home.
Look,
That happened.
I'm not trying to wake up. I'm not trying to wake up going off the side of a cliff. All right.
Yeah.
I want to be the reason it happens.
Not
on purpose.
Yeah.
But I want to be awake when it happens, not just like where it's happening, and then I gotta hit you on the chest and be like, "Hey, it's over, dude.
We're going down, and you can't stop it." Anyway, no,
wake up. This is your last few seconds.
I do enjoy a nice little drive. Like I don't go on Sunday drives. I don't pack the car and be like, all right, time to take a stroll in my Ford Fusion for 30 minutes or an hour.
So this unnamed texter, cruising Kearney is way better than it was in Lincoln because it's slow and stop. You could actually talk to people while you were sitting there and meet people, and that's exactly what it was. You had all these old school cars, and they would like stop and like the party, whatever party it was, would like kind of go up to them and just start asking them questions about their car, and they're more than happy to answer all the questions that these drunk college kids who are just asking them everything. They're like, "Can you rev the engine?" And they're like, "Of course I can." And they're burning rubber right there, and everybody's just like, "Yeah."
See, and you have that on O Street, but it's like obnoxious because you have one car that does it, and then it like starts a trickle down effect.
Everybody's got to do
where
it.
it's like, yep, this car 2 cars away is going to do it just to show off, but they're already bumper to bumper, so they can't really go anywhere. So they like rev it a little bit, then rev it a little bit, then rev it a little bit, and then it's like 4 cars farther down to it, and it just never is quiet.
Doesn't need to be.
Well,
so if you want, anybody that wants to see some old school cars, once the weather gets nice, the Walmart out on 27th and Superior, the Walmart / Sam's Club in that parking lot every Friday evening when the weather's nice, go out there. You'll see some nice cars. It's fantastic. I always forget, and I'm like, oh, I got to go get some from Sam's Club. Go out there, I see the cars, and I'm just like, man, I can stay here all day. These things are gorgeous.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good conversation, gentlemen. Austin opening day is 3 days away.
I know.
Thursday, March 30th.
Excited.
Opening day.
We're having it right here, too.
Jersey Day.
Guys, I'm telling you right now.
It's Jersey Day.
It's Jersey Day. Jersey Day on Thursday.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, the Cubs are getting 80 wins.
They're not under.
I'm going to say it both days.
Go ahead.
Their over under is 77.5.
Okay.
I think
I'm a little
80.
scared of the Cardinals, but the Cubs can make a run
Cardinals
for second.
Cardinals are going to be good. Cardinals are
Call
going to
it
win
right
the
now,
division.
Austin. Over under on that.
I'm going to say Cubs at least 80 wins every day until opening day.
That's a little too close to 77 for me. If the over-under was 75, I'd say 77, 78. Don't know if I'm willing to go 80.
Under 77. I don't care. This is happening. Yankees don't know what their over-under is, but over.
Whoa. Tom Petty sucks says you guys have absolutely no freaking clue what Lincoln's car scene is like. Shut up about O Street before we all kill you. Tom Petty.
Whoa.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. See
Adios.
Nebco is hiring CDL